my good Lord. What's up, you guys? All right. So hopefully my camera stays right there because I want to talk to you about why I'm thinking about going back to be a flight attendant. Yes, I'm thinking about going back to be a flight attendant. I was a flight attendant many years ago, like long before it was the cool thing to do. And I'm going to talk about why I want to go back and my experience while I was working as a flight attendant. If you haven't been by my channel and this is the first time you've ever been by, hello. My channel is a mishmash of everything. So you're not going to get just one thing here. You're not going to just get makeup. You're not going to just get my dating experiences. You're not going to get just whatever I come up with. You're going to get everything. So sorry that it's not just one thing, but welcome to my page. I'm Rachel. All right. So the reason why I'm thinking about going back as a flight attendant is because I miss it. I really, really, truly do. I miss being able to just get on a flight, work, and overnight somewhere fantastic. It doesn't have, being a flight attendant does have its ups and downs just like any other job, but I miss it. I literally haven't been a flight attendant for now 18 years. Yes, I started flying in 2000, so 19 years. So 19 years ago, I applied with an airline and I got the job. That airline is no longer in business. I'm sorry, I have to do something while I talk because I feel like I just need to do a little something. Anyway, so I was with US Airways and I applied to be a flight attendant in Pittsburgh. I'm originally from Wyoming, so I got the job. I went into training. Training was crazy, you guys. Like, it was so difficult. The test, I'm surprised I passed it. I really didn't have any problems passing it because I did get a study group. If you're thinking about going into flight attendant school, there is a training, and most trainings are unpaid. But what you need to do when you get into training is find a group of people and have study groups and take it seriously because these follow all the rules. Like, literally, if they say you can't wear a white hair tie in your hair, then make sure that you don't have white hair ties. I remember being in the flight attendant training and literally coming down to the last test, and I'm like, I'm just going to go ahead and get away with wearing a white hair tie to my last test. And literally, they made me go back to my room, change out my hair tie because it did not match the color of my hair, and they gave me I literally had 5 minutes to do it, and if I didn't get back in time, I could have been kicked out of training. So the training is all day. Like, you're in school, you're in the what is it called? You're in the hangar. Okay, you're in the hangar with a plane. You're in a plane. You're learning all of the equipment. You're doing all of it. So after training, and this has been a long time, you guys, so 19 years. So after training, you are on a reserve. So basically, you have only your set schedule of the days off that you're going to have. But you don't have any days that you're working until you get flights that other. So flight attendant seniority is very important. You are not senior until you have like 10 to 15 years in. Sad to say, I would have like 20 years in right now, and I would be making a lot of money. So I should have stayed where I was when I was with them. Anyway, so if you are looking for a job that takes you places that doesn't really have, the set schedule day in and day out, you're not working behind a desk. Yes, it has its perks, and yes, it has its downfalls. There were many, many times where I was a flight attendant and I slept in the crew room because you literally have to check in. You have to be, they say, an hour and a half away when you're on reserve from the airport. So there were times where I was like commuting back and forth from my base, and I would stay in the crew room. So Philadelphia crew room, US Airways, there's a blanket that I have in the crew room. Anybody work for you? I don't know, I guess it's going to be American now, but the crew room, there's a lion blanket. It's so soft. I got it when I was a child. If anybody ever sees it, it's mine. But back to it. So anyway, I was flying. I would fly from like Pittsburgh to Florida a lot. I was flying from Pittsburgh to pretty much all the East Coast. There was times where I did go to the West Coast, but it's very rare because I didn't have seniority. My first flight, I was called on reserves, and literally we all got quick called to go to San Diego. It was pouring rain in Pittsburgh, and we were going to San Diego. So at the time, we had full service dinners, like those big old plates in first class and in the cap. So at the time, I was the oldest flight attendant, and literally I took first class, and I did not know what I was doing at all. Like I had a 5-course meal. Like you start out with drinks, then you give them their salad, then you give them their dinner, and then you give them their dessert, and then you give them coffee. And then in the back of the cabin, the girls, they got halfway down the cabin, and all of the trays, they were pushing the cart up and down, and all of the trays on the cart just fell over. Literally fell in the middle of the plane. There were some senior crew members on, and they wrote us up. I'm just like, why would you write us up? Seriously, talk to us, help us. We had no idea what we were doing. It was our first flight out. I literally SHIT'd my pants when I had to get on the intercom and be like, welcome aboard, flight 390 or whatever flight it was. We are on our way to San Diego. To do the announcements was scary because over time you remember them, but I'm sitting there shitting bricks because I was so nervous to make a mistake or, whatever. And so anyway, the flight attendant crew wrote us up because we didn't know what we were doing. I call BS on that because we were brand new. She should have talked to us. She should have helped us. The reason why I quit being a flight attendant is because on September 11th, 2001, I was on a flight. I was going from, where were we going from? We were going from Maryland to Charlotte to the Bahamas. So our flight was booked to capacity, and I'm checking the equipment, and for whatever reason, it was booked at capacity, but only 30 people showed up. So that was strange. And so we were waiting for everybody, and we were just okay, they're not coming. So the reason why it was booked to capacity and only 30 people showed up was because what the people did, the bombers, was book a bunch of flights, book a bunch of seats with fake names, so they didn't have to worry about fighting off a lot of passengers. So they just booked a lot of different flights and a different names, so they didn't have to fight off people. But anyway, so we got from Maryland, and then we went to Charlotte, and we were in Charlotte for 4 days before they lifted the flight restrictions. And at that point, so after that, September 11th, I flew for a little bit longer. I flew until February of 2002, and then I just stopped flying. But I am thinking about getting back into it. I know all the perks, I know the cons, I know everything about being a flight attendant. I think every job has their perks and their cons, and I think that, being a flight attendant and being able to go wherever you want to go, even if it's just overnight or whatever, it's worth it. I don't want to sit in a 9-to-5 job. I just can't. It bores the daylight. Anyway, that's my thoughts. I'm thinking about going back to being a flight attendant. So if you know somebody that is a flight attendant, you have some, advice for me, whatever, leave them in the comments. I know that, a lot of people have their yeses and nos about being a flight attendant, but I really do miss it, and I think I'm gonna go back. So anyway, leave me a comment. Thank you so much for stopping by. I am going to get more involved in my page again, so subscribe, like, comment below, and watch any of the videos that you want to watch up above, because they're pretty funny, and you'll get to know me.